Hi. Well, here we are at Trinity United Church on South Hill in Moose Jaw, and we're talking to the Reverend Tim Ellis, who's the minister with the congregation here. But we're talking about a program that's upcoming in our community that I think that you should listen to, you should be a little aware of, and most certainly you should participate. I think you'll find it as we reach the third part of our life, Tim.
Yes.
The program, Tim, let's just talk about that. What's it called first?
Well, it's a program based on a book called Pilgrimage into the Last Third of Life Through 7 Spiritual Gateways. And the premise of the book is that as we age, and certainly at this time as boomers are aging, and I'm on the tail end of that, and that boomers, like every other aspect of their life, do things differently than generations before, and retiring is no different. We come out of retirement, or we go into retirement, come out of a working life, and we've been focused on achieving many things. And all of a sudden now, we don't have that work. We don't have the kids at home and the kids to raise. If we're blessed, we have grandchildren, which...
That's just for spoiling them.
Well, it is, and it's like as I told my daughter, grandchildren are a parent's revenge, right? You can give them back. But for the rest of the last third of life, which according to this program we look at is sort of age 60 up and up, things change dramatically for us. And so the program is to help us look at how we find our identity in that time and find our purpose. Many of us go through life achieving many things in day-to-day life, achieving things at work, and in community, and with children, of course. But when that's behind us, as we retire, we don't get, as we used to, the self-esteem that we got when we were out there being very productive participants in our economic type of society that we have.
Yeah, and that's for certainly a lot of people don't plan. I know in the teaching profession when I was in it, there were some people I just felt sorry for because they were looking for, they say, well, in teaching you can retire after 30 years of work, and they're all looking forward to that, and they're going, yeah, but what are you doing tomorrow? And they kind of go like, what do you mean? I says, you should never retire until you know what you want to do, and you know that one phase is over and the next phase is ready to begin.
And if more of us thought like that, and yet it's very human to think that way. You live in the moment, you live in the present, and certainly in our country, and in this particular part of our country, we live a better quality of life than generations ago, and we're very intrinsically tied to the socio-economic systems that we live in, and it keeps us busy. You know, we look for goals, and you're talking about you can retire after 30 years, and there's all kinds of programs out there that want to make that happen. But as you point out, the big question is then what?
Yeah.
And unfortunately for many, and certainly my grandfather, he owned a small general store for 51 years in a small community in southern Ontario, and at the age of 70 he finally gave it up, and then he walked across the street, sat in his recliner for the next 14 years waiting to die, basically. He didn't have anything else to do, and this becomes a greater problem in our time as we live longer. You know, the health systems that we have and the medicines and that, you know, we live in 1900, I think the average age of an adult would have been around 47 in Canada. That would be sort of when you die. Well, now we're looking in the 80s, certainly for women, and men aren't far behind. And so we have this whole few decades that we need to look at, and this program helps us do that. Often people I talk to find they're not sure what they should be doing, and they don't see any value in themselves because they don't fit into that socioeconomic participation that they did for so long as working people, and so the program's to help us look at, you know, first of all, facing aging and dying, which is a big thing. In our society, we have multi-billion-dollar industries built around denying death, where it wasn't that many generations ago where death was a normal part of the life cycle. People died at home. We cared for them till they died in our homes. The families, you know, got together and cleaned the body and prepared it for the funeral. And And in this day and age, it seems like we do everything we can to deny death's reality. And so we look at that and unpack it a little in that we have to change how we view these years. It's got to be more than just waiting to die. There's so much more we can do. And certainly you, when you get to retirement age, I'm sure you'll have things that you'll want to do.
I retired from teaching 4 years ago.
Well, has it been 4 years already?
Yeah, and but I taught for a long time, and I didn't go at 30. I could have gone at 30, but I waited for 42. And at 42, I said, I know I'm ready to not do this anymore. Although, you know, I said I never went to work a day in my life, and I didn't want to start, you know, having to go to work. I enjoyed my teaching career. It was a wonderful time, and
you get up in the morning and look forward to it, right?
And now, but you know, I said at this point, I want to just have that good happiness. So, but I'm, you know, looking at stuff. Just like about a month ago, I actually went out to the funeral place, not the funeral place, but the memorial place where they control the graves, and our family bought 4 plots, and I just went out and checked in to make sure I had my plot. So when that day comes, you know, that because you know, who else is going to do it, kind of thing.
Well, and that's what it is preparation, and unfortunately, even in this day and age, I mean, where we've got more knowledge than we've ever had collectively in our human capacity for knowledge is forever growing, but we still have that sort of well, we'll wait till we make those kind of decisions. And yet, if we can learn to accept who we are and embrace our aging, there are so many gifts, and certainly this book that I look at helps us to do that. I just want to read you a quote that really caught me, if that's okay, about the book, and it talks about the that phase and what happens to us when we move from full-time work and volunteering into retirement, and we're looking to replace whatever it was we got. And it says, we gain self-esteem through external sources, through the pride that we take in ourselves when we accomplish things that others, that society expects us to. And when we do it well, we receive that self-esteem, and that carries us a lot through our adulthood. But I think, as they point out in the book and in the program, is that once you no longer are participating in that reality, what do we look for then? We're not going to be going out and accomplishing things that are beyond what we did in our working life usually. I mean, there's the odd person that does. But I think...
Like Colonel Saunders.
Like, yeah. I saw him on TV again the other day. He's come back.
I know, exactly.
The resurrection. Yeah. But here we need to change our goals, is what they're saying, and if we put some thought into it. And so instead of looking for self-esteem to sustain us, it's an age as we're aging. It's that time and that phase where we can actually look at achieving self-respect rather than self-esteem. The self-respect could become our goal. And the difference between self-esteem and self-respect is that self-respect involves finding that inner peace we experience when we act according to our deepest values, when we're our truest self to ourselves, no matter what else is going on, even when it runs contrary to what society says is success. And for me, that opens up all kinds of doors for us to find new possibilities. You know, we're looking at, you know, at age 60, we're looking at 20 plus years on average for us to go on living, and to find deep meaning in that, and to find it, as so many people look for in meaning in a spiritual way. It really gives a sense of value that is inherent in us as human beings, and the value that then we can continue to contribute to our communities, to our families. And the last piece of the program looks in what can we leave as a legacy, not in terms of material things such as houses and riches, but what is it we can leave to our families and our children and our grandchildren? What kind of legacy would you want to leave? And part of what they suggest is dying well, of dying with a sense of peace, of accomplishment, of satisfaction, and being able to move from this life to whatever is beyond it, and with a sense of integrity about who you've been and what you've offered. So,
Tim, that's really good. And I know you did the program here at church and at Trinity United Church. It was such a success that you were prompted by others to say, you should share this with the community. And that's going to happen in February, March, somewhere at that
probably
point.
in March we're going to run it again, and as you said, we just ran it as a pilot project within the congregation. It was very well received, and as you point out, other people are asking about it, and it's not just here, it's being run throughout the United States in different ways, but we're going to offer it again in March. I haven't got the dates right yet, but we will communicate what the dates are. We'll be putting, posters and stuff around, and we'd invite anybody who has
Who plans on passing away.
Yeah, well, and for those of you that don't plan on it, come on anyway.
You should be here.
Yeah, and it's about creating a group of people and a community where we can have those conversations that are difficult in a place where we form a sense of security and trust about what we talk about. And one of the greatest things that was repeated over and over by the people that took it this fall was they were surprised that they weren't the only ones with these worries and these concerns and these challenges, and that all of a sudden they discovered people who were living the same doubts and questions they were, and they all found that a gift, and it's a gift I think we all would love to be able to take and go with us. So.
Tim, thanks very much for taking the time to share it, and I know people should be thinking about this, and anybody in their final third of their life or getting to that point.
Getting to that point,
yeah. So really good. So thank you again for being here.
Well, thank you, Lyle, for coming up to see us.
Okay, and so that wraps up this segment, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon on Moose Jaw this week.